then beyond that, I get like extraordinary dad vibes from Steve, and he's a really committed father. Like he like self-identifies as a father, like that's his role, and I felt, I don't know, in talking and hanging out more and talking about the movie, I'm realizing like how important the trust was with him, and I guess it never was clear to me because it was just like assumed he's just a great guy. But I'm realizing now and watching it too, like, oh wow, like I really had to be across someone that I felt comfortable, because it could have been like, you know, he's obviously a big star, and it could have been anything. I didn't know what to expect, so but yeah, I guess that was my impression.
Yeah, and for me and my dad, like, we are super close. I mean, it's a kind of a miracle that we came out of all that, and he was so just forgiving of me, you know. I mean, it took time for sure, like a lot of time, but just slowly, like, we started to build back trust. And you know, I think that's something you see in the movie too, is like at the end, that love is still there, and that's like, I feel like one of the messages of the movie for sure is like, even after all of that and all that they went through, like at the very end, that love never goes away. And you see that, like, as they're sitting there in that courtyard or whatever, and he puts his hand out, like, that love is there, and you know, that's the way it is in your life too.
Thank you.
Yeah, you had the cool dad who wrote for Rolling Stone, so. Timothy, fun fact, Jenna Fisher, Phyllis Smith, and Ellie Kemper are all from St. Louis. I know you're a big Office fan.
That's what she said, yes.
So this question is mostly for Nick, but I think you could also answer it based on what you've read or what you've observed. But you've had such like a big story to tell, and there's only so much time like in a movie. So is there anything you wish got into the movie but didn't?
That's a really good question. I mean, I don't know, not really, I have to say. You know, I think one thing that when the movie was being made, you know, we really decided to kind of like, I don't know, trust this process, and you know, we really trusted the director, the producers, and honestly, like, for me, meeting Timmy, and for my dad meeting Steve, like, we just were kind of like, we trust these people, and we're gonna like give this to them. And you know, when I saw it, like, it felt so authentic and so, I don't know, and for me, I think because I've kind of moved on in some ways in my life, like recovery is still a big part of my life, but I also like, you know, doing other things, like I'm not writing about addiction all the time and stuff. So seeing the movie, it was just such an incredible reminder of like everything that we went through, and just how grateful I should be just every day, like, to be alive and to have a relationship with my family like I have. And so in a way, it was like just such a gift that the filmmakers and everyone gave to me and my family. I feel like I should watch the movie like every 6 months or something, so I just remember like to just be grateful, you know. So I don't know if that answered that, but yeah.
I don't know, I mean, no, again, like Felix, who directed it, he organized the memoirs, and he kind of sequenced it the way he wanted. So maybe because I have no control in that, like I've never had the thought, but I thought for those that have read the books, that was I'm sure that was a challenge for me, because there's so much in there. So I don't know, sorry.
Thank you so much.
Hi, it's really great to see both of you, especially in Missouri. I know, like, Missouri, but I think this movie was like maybe particularly relevant for a lot of us because, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the 573 area code, which is where I'm from, up until 2014 was the meth capital of the U.S. So like, I guess like with that background, you know, so many of us have like seen so many people in our lives go through this. And the power of personal testimony was so powerful, but it makes me wonder what you guys are going to do moving forward as the movie continues to roll out and momentum builds, how you're going to continue to like make the most of the platform and the power that you have with this movie.
Well, that's a good question. I feel like that makes me feel like I want to go do stuff. No, well, we are. I mean, you know, I'm continuing on to do like we're visiting like basically like one city every day, like all around the whole country, and get to talk about these issues with people, which, you know, and just to share, you know, it's so amazing to hear people share their stories and their experiences, and that's such a cool thing about like being open.